super excited to be here. I mean, obviously, you guys don't know who I am. My name is Stacey Hall. I am actually Carrie's little baby sister. And just so happens that we are both in the stage of life where we are perimenopausal, menopausal, and we are trying to deal with this weight gain thing. She asked me if I would be willing to come in and just share a little bit of my story and my journey with all of you lovely ladies to see if there's a way that I might be able to just give you some help that would be useful. Because when you start to hear my story, I think it's going to resonate with a lot of you. I'm sure a lot of you are struggling in many of the same ways that I was. Love your YouTube videos, Carrie. They crack me up.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're sweet.
Hello. Yes, let's give Carrie some love, shall we? I love it. I'm going to post all of the nice comments that people say. So where to begin? I guess first and foremost, I would love to know from your community, Carrie, if you ladies want to drop a comment, what is it about your menopause journey so far that has been most challenging? So for me, it was absolutely the weight gain that came out of nowhere, and it was like a runaway freight train and I could not get it to stop no matter what I did. So I'm curious what it is for you. Is it weight gain? Is it, problems sleeping? Like, what are you dealing with? I'm just curious. I want to get to know you guys a little bit better. And I'm going to keep posting some of these comments. The weight for sure. Weight gain for Angel as well. Ashley, the weight gain for sure. Debbie, weight, hope, anxiety, and panic attacks out of the blue. Oh my gosh, that is so brutal. I had one at an airport. I totally feel you on that one. Weight gain, extreme fatigue, which leads to anxiety and depression. Cheryl, I feel you. Weight gain, tiredness, feeling not myself anymore. Oh my gosh, I say that all the time. Ashley said, I was so relieved to find Carrie's YouTube channel. I feel like I was losing my mind and myself. Aw. All right. So cool. So I would say weight gain, anxiety, fatigue. You're about to find out all those things are related. What? I know. It's crazy. And I'm sure you guys have learned so much. Carrie, I'm sure they've learned so much from you already. So some of this is going to be review for a lot of you, like people in here, I'm sure. But I'm going to just share quickly the weight gain situation. So if you are one of those people who gained weight during menopause, I want you to drop a comment and let me know how much you gained. You want to know why? Because I read something recently, which might just blow your mind. Apparently, statistics show, and I do this in quotes because I'm always a little apprehensive of statistics because I'm like, who's running that study anyway? A lot of times they run studies on things that aren't relevant to me. And then I find something that works really well. And then people will hit me up with, well, there's no scientific evidence to prove that works. And I'm like, dude, because they didn't do the studies doesn't mean it doesn't work. Right. And I know you understand this, Carrie. There are things that we find that work really well. And just because they don't have millions of dollars in research, they call it into question. For example, things like apple cider vinegar or castor oil or black seed oil. They'll tell you it doesn't work. There's no scientific evidence. I'm like, I don't care. I know because I did it. And right. Okay. So you get it.
Yeah.
One of these scientific studies said that the average menopausal woman, are you ready for this? Gains 5 pounds. 5 pounds. I'm like, that's cute.
I might want to times that by 4.
Right. Like I can gain 5 pounds if I don't go to the bathroom. What do you mean? Like who's skewing that bell curve? It doesn't even make sense. I talk to women every single day, just like you do, who are on a menopause journey, and they gain a lot more than 5 pounds. So that's why I'm asking. Okay. You can't see the comments, but let's go through it quickly. 130 to 200, 40 pounds for sure, 15 pounds, over 20 pounds. Currently 208, gained 50 pounds, 50 in 2021, down to 175. Good for you, Anne. That's awesome. Julie gained 20. Cheryl, did a man say that? I think a man did the study now that you mention it. And so that baffled me because I put on over 40 pounds in a couple of years out of nowhere. So I've been in a gym since I was 8 years old. I was an athlete. After I gave up my sport, I stayed in the gym doing traditional weight training, right? Traditional weight training and high intensity cardio training. Any HIIT trainers in here? HIIT. So you're like team 5 days a week. You're always at the gym. You're doing the do. You're watching what you eat. You know your way around a kitchen. And for whatever reason, what always worked for you just stops working. Anybody feel like that? And so all of a sudden, the weight started to creep up. And it began to be like a runaway freight train. And I would see pictures of myself on social media, and I was absolutely mortified.
I feel you.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I actually I had a thing with my friends where I was called the right of first refusal. So they were not totally serious. They were not allowed to post a picture of me on social media until I approved it. Because I'm like, you post something of me looking fat, I will come for you. Right. So, and then after that, I started like taking only pictures from here up, and I was behind my kids, and it's just like,
I would take 50 pictures and pick the one that looked the best. It took me forever just to post one picture. Yeah.
We have to
hear you.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Angles, right? You got to pick
the angle is everything. Oh, yes.
Exactly. And so it was really, really mortifying. And because my career requires that I'm in front of humans, it was really hard on me. And not just from a self-esteem perspective, but somebody in here mentioned that you just wanted to feel like yourself again. I didn't feel normal. Like I felt like I was going crazy. Anxiety came out of the blue. I was stressed out about everything. I had this constant feeling of foreboding, like something bad was going to happen no matter what. I suddenly couldn't people anymore. Like I just couldn't be around people. I couldn't socialize. I felt heart palpitations. I felt like I couldn't focus. Like the brain fog was really bad. I wasn't sleeping well. Like everything went to crap. And on top of that, I had the 3-ring circus. It wasn't just one inner tube of fat. It was 3. It started right under my boobs and it went ba-doop, 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 right?
I still have 1 ring left.
Well, you're doing well.
I'm working on it, but I have 1 ring left.
The real estate between the boob and the hip was gone. It just all went poop out the way, like squeezed, like a toothpaste tube out. And all the things that used to work for me stopped working. And this is what I really need you ladies to understand. So this is what I was sharing with Carrie that she wanted me to share with you. There were actually 3 things that I had to tweak in order to get the weight off. And the biggest, most amazing part of this is that for many of you, it's going to make your life easier. Can I get an amen? For easier. Okay, let me just put up one of these comments. Ashley, it is awful, inexplicably awful. And like you said, went to crap. I have been off work for 4 months and have to go back now. Ashley, girl, I feel you. Let me just say this, okay? You're not crazy. It's not you. Okay? So don't let anybody gaslight you. This is the one thing that just made me so crazy when I put on all this weight. People would say things to me like, well, you just need to be in a calorie deficit and move more. If one more person says this on TikTok, I'm literally going to lose my entire mind, right?
You're obviously eating too much. You just don't realize. Stop tracking it. Track everything you put in your mouth. You're obviously eating too much.
Right.
Baloney.
Right. Exactly. That's what they say. Or you don't realize you're not exercising as much as you think you are.
Yeah. You're eating the wrong types of foods. You're doing something wrong.
Like, but when they say that to you, what they're thinking is that you're in the closet eating Oreos and you're just not telling anyone.
Yep.
So it infuriated me, especially because the people who were giving me this advice, I've been working out longer than they've been alive. And because they have their fitness certification, right? So here's what I discovered the hard way. And I hope it's super helpful to you. If you have weight to lose and you are perimenopausal or menopausal, you need to stop prioritizing cardio. I said what I said. And that may be revolutionary to you. Cardiovascular training is largely overvalued for fat loss. If you don't believe me, read the studies. Cardiovascular training is super important for your cardiovascular health. But do you know what the healthiest form of cardiovascular training for your actual heart is? Walking, right? So if you just get your steps in, you're taking care of that. But those of you that I was joking about, team 5 days a week, if you're going balls to the wall on your Peloton for an hour a day, you need to stop. If you're running outside full tilt, you need to stop. If you're doing high intensity interval training, where you put the treadmill on an incline and you're running like crazy, you need to stop. If you're doing CrossFit, if you're doing 75 hard, if you're doing Orange Theory, if you're doing any of those things, you need to stop because you're working out like a 30-year-old. And here's the news flash. Those things don't work as well for women typically anyway. All the studies they do are on men. If you look at a male sort of like hormonal rhythm in a 24-hour period, it looks like this. For women, we have a 4-week cycle, and it looks like this. Right? And then you have estrogen going down, you have progesterone going down. You don't know if you're coming or going. And so you're living in a state of constant stress already. Many of you are living in fight or flight. So if you resonate with this, if you have the ring of fat, for sure, you probably have high cortisol. Do you feel wired and tired? Do you feel wired and tired? In other words, you feel like you're constantly on the lookout, constantly on the lookout. You feel like that. Heart palpitations, hot sweats, right? But you're exhausted. And then as soon as you put your head on the pillow, all of a sudden you can't sleep. You're like, what? I don't understand. I've been exhausted all day. How come I can't sleep? You're wired and tired. This means that you're living in a state of fight or flight. So your cortisol levels are always elevated. You are making it worse when you go to the gym and you focus on cardiovascular training in that way. If you want to do cardio, you can dance. You can get a rebounder. So good for your lymphatic drainage. Walk, but stop that, okay? And we need to focus on resistance training. So I backed off of all the high intensity cardio. I stopped doing all the high intensity weightlifting. Not saying you have to do that. Just saying what I did. I started doing the Tracy Anderson method. You may or may not be familiar with that, but it focuses on your own body as its own resistance, right? So like Pilates or yoga or Tai Chi or weight training with walking as opposed to doing everything in like heavy duty circuits. Drop a comment if you're understanding so far. Okay, let me just share some of these comments with you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, exactly. Yep, directly talking to me, wired and tired. I'm not really able to do that cardio anymore. I admit it's hard to get in 10,000 steps, though. It's definitely hard. You have to work your way up to that. When I saw Carrie's menopause symptoms video, it was amazing to find out that all of the weird issues were related. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely. Even on Weight Watchers, there isn't much about menopause. Yeah, Weight Watchers is not my favorite. We're going to talk about that. And they say you don't exercise enough. Yes, they do. Okay, so we're following. Awesome. 3 thumbs up from Angel. Makes perfect sense from Julie. Good. I just don't want you to miss out on the comments, Carrie.
I know. I'm so sad right now that I can't see them. I just need to figure it out.
Used to run and lift weights, but now makes me feel shaky after. Of course, because you're already in a state of stress. So we're going to talk about that. How many steps do you recommend daily, like minimum? So it depends on where you're starting from, right? If you're not taking any steps right now, just start with 2,000 and see how you go.
Yep.
Right? Work your way up.
Walk around the house.
Exactly. Some days I don't even, some days I get 5,000, sometimes less, but because I work out every day, I don't worry about it, but just you work your way up, right? But I need you to just understand that if you think you can't lose weight because you're not doing excessive amounts of cardio, it's not true. It's not true. So I want you to let yourself off the hook there. So 2 weeks after I stopped that heavy duty routine, and by the way, I'm going to show you what I looked like when I was doing that routine so you can see.
Still beautiful though.
Oh yeah, no, there's no body shaming here. There's no body shaming here. This is more just about understanding what high cortisol looks like. I want you to understand what high cortisol looks like and what inflammation looks like. In this picture, I was doing high intensity cardio circuits like HIIT training and heavy weight training. Okay. Okay. Now listen, I'm not fat. I know that. But do you see any muscle tone? Not really, right? Even though I was working out hard. What you're seeing here is inflammation. You see how it's puffy? Puffy. I call it matronly upper arms. That's inflammation. You see the 3-ring circus coming over the edges? There's like 3 little rings to my belly there. There's no real estate between my boob and my hip. And now there's nothing wrong with that. But what that is just an indication of is high cortisol levels. So if you have high cortisol, that means your body is saying, nope, I'm going to store everything right here. Because right now, Carrie's in a state of fight or flight, which means she's running from a saber-toothed tiger, or she's about to get rear-ended by a car. So I want to get her out of danger. Thus, I am going to stop prioritizing anything that isn't life-threatening right now. Your digestion, your hormone health, etc. So it's like a switch, by the way. So if that switch turns off, where your body's like, I am not going to burn fat for fuel, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how low you bring your calories and how much exercise you do, it's not going to take the weight off, because until something biochemically changes in your body, it's not going to flip the switch back on. So how do we change it? Exactly what I did. And that's why I'm sharing this with you. Number 1, stop with the high intensity cardio. Okay, let me just read some comments. Such a difference. You look amazing now. Thank you, Nikki. Anne says, that's my problem. So much fat hanging off my arms and my belly. Okay, so pay close attention. Take some notes. Looks like a totally different person. I agree. And I feel like a totally different person. I walk about 2 miles a day, but I'm wondering if that is enough. That sounds like a good amount. Thank you, Tiffany, for saying I look incredible. You're sweet. So the second thing that I did was I started to prioritize balancing my blood sugar. And I know you ladies are probably familiar with this, but here's the other thing that's going to let you off the hook. I learned that a lot of different eating styles actually work. And this is what's interesting, because so many people on TikTok and other social media platforms are arguing with each other. You got the keto people arguing with the high carb people, and you've got the intermittent fasters arguing with the 6 meals a day. And, you know, everyone thinks that their way is the best way. And you'll see them say that, like, you need to do intermittent fasting if you can't get the weight off. You need to stop doing intermittent fasting. It's going to raise your cortisol. So you're like, what works? Well, the thing is, a lot of them work. It depends on the person. It depends on what makes you happy. But here's the truth that nobody wants to really say. If you lose the weight doing something that you don't intend to do for the rest of your life, you're just going to gain it back, boo. I'm sorry. Because if you approach it like a program, then your brain goes, okay, we're on a program. That means I must lose the weight as quickly as humanly possible so I can go off the program. And if you're thinking like that, you're done before you start. So the key is, whatever you choose as the way you're going to lose the weight, can you just choose the way you want to eat? I'm not talking about, Dorito dust on your clothes and, drinking Coke. I don't mean that. But I mean, like, there are a lot of healthy ways to eat. They need to stop arguing about it. Okay. So for me, I do a Mediterranean style of eating simply because it's how I've always kind of eaten. It's been considered the healthiest way to eat since they've been studying it. It's been the most studied way to eat since the 60s. And the reason is because people in the Mediterranean live longer and they have less chronic issues than we do. So it's pretty basic. But the Mediterranean style of eating can wrap around anything. It basically just means whole foods, plant-based, move away from processed food as much as possible, avoid the seed oils, go for more olive oil. I'm sure Carrie shares all this stuff with you. Healthy food choices, but predominantly what I eat is whole foods that are whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, spices, and healthy fat. That makes up most of my diet. Then in the middle, with a Mediterranean diet, they eat some lean meat and seafood, That would be like a few times a week for them. Like North Americans eat a lot more meat than Europeans. Okay. That's a clue. That's a clue. And then the tippity top of their little food pyramid is red meat and sweets and processed foods, which means occasionally for them, right? I feel like North Americans almost have a game to see how many animals they can put on their plate at one time. I don't know why we're so obsessed
with each meal. Yeah.
And protein in general, it's like they're so over proteinated. I feel like people are going to end up having kidney failure if they keep it up, but or liver problems. I don't know, but what I do is doable with any diet choice. So if you are a meat eater or you are a vegetarian or a vegan or gluten-free, high carb, whatever your choice is, just focus on balancing your blood sugar. You already know what a decent portion size looks like for you because you follow Carrie. There's no way that you aren't somewhat conscious of what you're doing. There's no way. If you don't know, because maybe you just don't know, then maybe just learn what a plate should look like. And once you understand that, you don't need to count calories or count macros unless you feel like it's really important for you psychologically. So for me, psychologically, if you give me a bunch of rules, I freak out.
Yeah, same.
I can't function. And then I become obsessed. All I think about is food, when I'm going to eat, where I'm going to buy the food, how I'm going to prepare the food, oh my gosh, I'm going out with my girlfriends. What am I going to eat? What's the menu? Can I look it up online first? Blah, blah, blah. It becomes toxic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I have to eat now because I can't eat at 8 o'clock, even if I'm not hungry.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I don't do that. I don't eat according to the clock. I don't care what they say. If I'm hungry and it's after 8, I eat, because if I go to bed at midnight, I don't see that that's a big sin. I don't eat breakfast just because they say it's breakfast time. If my body's telling me I'm not hungry, I am going to drink water and flood my body with nutrients, minerals, whatever, but I'm not going to eat a meal if my body's telling me I'm not hungry. I just don't do that. It's up to you. But this is why I don't do intermittent fasting, okay? Because people ask me that all the time. Did you lose the weight intermittent fasting? Nope, because it makes me crazy. I act like a crazy person. Then I become like a petulant child where I'm like, I'm not going to go out to the dinner with my girlfriends because I'm going to sit there and drink Perrier because I'm not in my eating window. I'm not going to do that, right? I'm on the cheesecake. If I'm going, I'm having the cheesecake. Like, who made up all these rules that we're supposed to live by anyway? No. So I lost the 44 pounds eating just like that, Mediterranean style. Chia pudding for breakfast, for example.
Oh, love chia pudding. Love it.
And my lunches are often like, if I'm really hungry, I'll have like a big salad with, some tofu, some avocado, because I don't eat meat. Okay. But if you do eat meat, it's easy. It's easy. You put a piece of fish, you put some lean protein, you're good to go. Or even eggs, right? If I'm not super hungry, sometimes I'll just have like vegetables and hummus, or I'll have like baked tortilla chips and guacamole, something like that. Dinner is often Indian curries. I do a lot of Thai food. I love Thai food, stir fries, but here's the deal: protein, healthy fat, fiber. Protein, healthy fat, fiber. Protein, healthy fat, fiber. That was the only thing I changed from when I was heavy to when I lost all the weight. I started focusing on balancing my blood sugar. No more naked carbs. No more naked carbs. The carbs are not the enemy. Don't eat them naked. That was the key for me. So I still eat the bagel, but instead of having a bagel with butter, which you might do, I'll put sugar-free nut butter and some blueberries. Instead of having yogurt, I will put hemp hearts and fruit in there, right? Instead of having just a bowl of pasta, I'm going to have pasta with a side salad, sliced avocados, and some protein, like whether it's eggs or tofu or whatever you want to put on there, right? So I'm always balancing my meal to have protein, healthy fats, and fiber. As soon as I did that, those of you who are struggling with fatigue, my energy was so much better. I stopped having the crashes. My cortisol levels came down. My inflammation started to go away. I became more regular, and the weight started to fall off. I didn't change anything else. In fact, I was eating more, Carrie, because before I was under eating because I thought I had to because the weight wouldn't budge.
Which will slow your digestion and fat burning and raise your cortisol.
Exactly. So my life is more enjoyable because I'm not doing intermittent fasting. I'm not counting calories. I'm not counting carbs. I'm not cutting my, any food groups out. I'm eating healthy fats. And the other thing is I stopped grazing and I started eating more 3 squares.
Yeah.
And I feel so much more satisfied than when I was doing smaller meals.
Yeah. You need that insulin to come down in between.
Exactly right.
Speaking from the diabetic.
Yeah. See, you understand this stuff, but
I get it.
It's not what they're teaching.
I don't graze all day or I'll be more diabetic than I already am.
I didn't know that. See, because originally they taught us eat 6 small meals a day because I was like a weight trainer, right?
Never.
Super bad advice.
No.
Yeah.
Which is why my weight comes off slower because I have insulin resistance. But it's still doable because it's still coming off.
Oh yeah, it will be slower.
It's doable.
It'll be slower, but that's normal. You also have to have more patience with your routine. It's the consistency that's going to make the difference. Like I started, for example, we're going to talk a minute about the supplementation protocol because that's a key piece. It's like you have 3 legs on the tripod, and if one leg isn't there, it still falls over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I lost my train of thought. We're going to talk about the supplements in a second. But when it comes to insulin resistance and anything like that, when you get into menopause, it's so much more likely that you're going to deal with that. They call that like the menopause triangle, right? Like high cortisol, leptin resistance, insulin resistance. You can also have thyroid issues, whatever, hormone issues. You can still lose the weight, but you have to be super consistent. If you're not doing the things daily, like I'm so consistent that after 2 years, I lost the weight 2 years ago. I've kept it off for 2 years within a pound up, a pound down. My weight is super stable. I can take a week completely off of exercise. I'm about to go to Orlando tomorrow morning. I'll be there for several days. I'm not going to be eating my usual stuff. I probably am not going to get my workouts in the same way. It doesn't have any negative impact on me at all because I'm so consistent otherwise, right? And you will get to be the same way. The third piece of the puzzle is that supplementation protocol. And it's funny because again, the three legs of the tripod, you have your food, you have your exercise, you have your supplementation. Now, part of that tripod is also sleep and stress management. That is important too. But I will tell you that those 2 things for me, I'm still not great at. I'm working on them, but I still managed to lose the weight and keep it off. So you don't have to be perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's always about good, better, best. Can you just make a better decision tomorrow than you made today? That's it, right? You don't have to be perfect. I want you to understand that. Like I still eat potato chips almost every single day. I drink wine several times a week. I want to enjoy my life, right? So don't think you can't have those things. You can. But with the supplementation protocol, my experience has been you're probably taking a lot of things you don't need to be, and you're not taking the things that will move the dial. Right. So I'm on TikTok. Carrie, you're gonna laugh, but I'm on TikTok and I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, black seed oil. I definitely need to have that. Oh, castor oil. Definitely need to have that. What is that? Lion's mane? Maybe I need to have the lion's mane. Do I need coenzyme Q10? What about biotin? Should I be having biotin? I don't know. So
line you're covered. It's line you're covered. Right? Yeah.
There's nothing more expensive than buying products that don't work. You will spend thousands of dollars and they all go under your sink. And listen, there's nothing wrong with those products probably, but they're not necessarily the right thing for your goals. This is what I learned the hard way. So I pushed everything out, all the multivitamins, all the stuff. I just got rid of it. Done. I went to the doctor and I'm like, do a blood panel. I want to know how I'm doing. The doctor said, you're deficient in vitamin D. I want you to start taking vitamin D, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids. Okay. Reason being, most women, especially in menopause, are not getting enough of either. And they work synergistically together. So if you're supplementing with vitamin D and you don't have enough magnesium in your body, vitamin D is never going to become the active form. It's just going to sit dormant. You need to have both. That's why she put me on both, right? Incidentally, vitamin D is the only vitamin / mineral that humans just make on their own, right? It's kind of God's little gift. It's interesting. Everything else we get through food, or it's like created in some way. Vitamin D is the only one that we go in the sun, or, you know, our cholesterol and the sun come together and create this awesome hormone vitamin. And it's the receptors in the body, they're everywhere for vitamin D, right? It's so critically important. And most people are not getting enough. And the symptoms of vitamin D deficiency mimic a lot of autoimmune issues, by the way. So this is why it's important to get a blood panel, because you might think you have rheumatoid arthritis and you might actually be deficient in vitamin D. And when it goes on for a long time, you start to have a lot of symptoms. So this was really important. But for our conversation today, vitamin D and magnesium may not help you lose weight, but if you're deficient, it will make it really hard for you to. Because it helps us metabolize fats, proteins, carbohydrates. It also helps with our insulin sensitivity, among other things, right? I'm sure Carrie shared all the benefits of magnesium with you. So I started supplementing with those 3 things. And then I added a few things that helped me to lose the fat faster, because I'm soups impatient. So I do want to say, you can't out supplement bad habits. So if you're doing you're making really poor choices with your exercise and your nutrition, and then you're just buying supplements and hoping it's going to offset that problem, that's not going to work. Supplements work when you work them. So if you're not getting results from your supplements, it's usually because 3 reasons. 1, you're not taking them consistently. 2, you're not making good choices elsewhere. Or 3, your gut health sucks. Okay. So if you're taking something and you come to me and you say, I've been taking that for 30 days and it's not working, I'm like, let's look at it. Because, you know, everyone's different to a point, but the product is the product is the product. The variable is you, right? So we have to look at that. So I ended up adding a fat burning collagen, an anti-aging collagen, and a gut health product. That's it. Compared to 40 supplements that I had before. And those 3 supplements moved the dial for me more than anything else. And this is why when I was sharing it with Carrie, she's like, oh my gosh, you need to share this with me. I need to know what you're doing. And so I filled her in.
And it's working. And I have them all.
Yeah, you're starting to really enjoy.
I am in love. I will sell my bed. I will not go without those products now. I can exercise again, which is huge.
Yeah, that's the collagen, right?
Yeah, within 3 weeks, like amazing. And my itchiness, my itchiness, like I'm not scratching myself to bleed anymore, which is a miracle.
Wow.
Yeah, the stuff is liquid gold. Like to me, the stuff is liquid gold. And I will sell my bed and sleep on the floor with my bottles of collagen.
Yeah, I always thought they're going to have to pull it out of my dead hands. But I'm 51. And so I don't have any wrinkles yet. I have a little bit of an 11.
Totally jealous.
But people say you must get Botox. That's why I do that, because there ain't no Botox in that forehead. It's because of the collagen. Like my skin is like, you can see it kind of, I don't know if it glows, but I mean, it's healthy. My skin is healthy. I don't have like old lady hands. This is the most important thing. I don't have loose skin. So 44 pounds of menopause weight loss, this was really saggy at first, right? But it snapped back quite a bit because of the collagen. So it does make a huge difference. But I have them here. Do you think it's cool if I show them? Do you guys
show my products all the time because I'm absolutely obsessed.
Cool. Drop a 1 if you'd like to see what I use, just out of curiosity.
They'll recognize some of them because I can't stop sharing. They work so well for me. I just want to help the whole world. You know what I mean? Like I can't stop.
And I have, let me see if there's any questions here, because I know it's tough for Carrie. She can't see. Oh my gosh, there's so many great comments.
Oh, I'm so sorry I can't see them.
I'm trying to do the glucose goddess method with a tiny bit of keto. Okay, Angel, as long as you plan to continue doing that forever, you're golden. It just depends on what you like, right? I follow Dr. Jason Fung and I lost 40 pounds. Awesome. Intermittent fasting and low carb works for me. That's awesome, Lisa. Good for you. Get away from processed foods. Yeah, as long as you can continue doing that. Like if the intermittent fasting keeps working for you, rock it out. I just my mental health can't handle that. It's just me. Been migrating towards Mediterranean and wild caught seafood. Awesome. Do I eat more protein? I don't worry about protein, honestly. I don't worry about my protein intake at all because I'm balancing my blood sugar. So I'm focused on getting some at every meal. But I do know that focusing on building lean muscle is critically important. So if you feel like you're getting skinny fat, you may not be getting enough protein. But here's the deal. It's impossible to be protein deficient if you're getting enough calories.
There's protein in every whole food has protein.
That's right. It's in every God-given food on earth. It really is. And so there's actually no word in the English language for protein deficiency that doesn't relate to caloric insufficiency. So if you're getting enough calories, you will not be protein deficient. The argument, I suppose, is whether or not you should be getting more than adequate protein. Jury's out. We know that it helps you build lean muscle, but what is it doing to your organs long term? That's my concern. So I always advocate for adequate protein, whatever that means to you, right?
Nope, that's my word too. I put adequate before everything.
Right. Because I look at this. Okay. I'm not a meat eater. If I'm able to put on muscle, I'm getting enough protein. That's how I look at it. If I don't have a bunch of extra fat on my body, I'm getting enough protein. So that's how I look at it. Okay. So I'm going to go through what my sort of daily routine looks like, because that's the number one question I get whenever I talk about this. Well, what do you do every day? So in the morning, when I started out losing the weight, I don't even know if you know this, Carrie. I started out with the full lean body system. This is the fat burning collagen. It's called Trim. It comes with 3 products as part of the full lean body system. This is what I did for 3 months, not saying you should do it, saying this is what I did, full disclosure. And the reason why I did this is because I'm freaking impatient and I wanted results faster. So what this does, okay, this is the fat burning collagen. And sometimes people will show this on TikTok and they will say a tablespoon a day melts the fat away. We know that's not true, don't we, ladies? Nothing melts fat except a laser, maybe. I don't like when they say that because I feel like it downplays how effective it actually is. Here's the truth about what this can do. This, besides tasting amazing and staving off my sugar cravings, actually helps to shrink your existing fat cells and prevent them from getting filled back up. At the same time, it will support your lean muscle so that it will not get catabolized as you're losing weight. One of the biggest problems with menopausal women is that as we get older, our muscle mass goes down. We have a corresponding loss in strength. And so our metabolism slows down and it makes it way easier to keep piling the weight on. But what happens is women want to be in a calorie deficit to lose the weight. And as soon as they go into a slight calorie deficit, you might lose 5 pounds. But that 5-pound weight loss includes water, it includes waste, it includes inflammation, and it includes muscle tissue. So you're losing some of your muscle with that 5 pounds, which then causes things to slow down and the weight comes back on. This is the problem. It's that vicious cycle. So when you have something like this that actually protects your lean muscle from that happening, right? You can actually make gains. And what that means is over time, it's not a miracle. You're not going to wake up next week 20 pounds lighter. But if you measure and you take pictures, what's going to happen if you are consistent is your lean muscle mass percentage is going to rise. Your fat percentage is going to decline. You are going to lose inches and get smaller, and your body fat percentage is going to be healthier. And it's going to target visceral fat primarily, the unhealthy kind around your organs, right? So that's why I love this, because of what it does for my muscle more so than just the fact that it helps with fat loss, which is awesome. But being that I have no more weight to lose, I still take this a few times a week for this, right? So when I started with all 3. The other two that comes with the lean body system, this is called Burn, and it contains something called berberine. Drop a comment if you guys have heard about berberine, because I know it's all the rage on TikTok.
Nature's Ozempic.
They call it that. I think that might be hyperbole.
I imagine it is.
But it's pretty powerful. What it does do is it really helps with your insulin sensitivity. So somebody like Carrie, who's got insulin resistance, this is going to help with that. It's going to help with your insulin sensitivity. It's going to stave off cravings, and it gives you a crap ton of energy. It has fucoxanthin in it. It has some green tea extract in there. All of them are wildly studied. They're studied. So it will help with energy. This also sugar cravings. Oh my gosh. Okay. Then the other one is Activate. This is a gentle cleanse, and I would take, there's only 3. So you do 1 a night for 3 nights. It doesn't taste delightful, but it's not awful. Just don't let it sit forever. It'll be like a big pile of sludge. Don't do that. Otherwise, it's fine. It's White Pant approved. You can still eat. Nothing's going to go crazy. It's not like preparing for a colonoscopy. Don't worry. I got you. Right? So you do that for 3 nights and you're done. And then, so now that I've explained that, do you need the full lean body system? I don't know. Up to you. Depends on how bunged up you are. Depends on how problematic your energy is. It depends on how fast you want results. This works really well on its own. So what I did is I'd get up in the morning. I'd pour this. I have to open it first because otherwise I make a big mess and then Greg will laugh at me. See my pretty spoon? Okay. So you pour this into a spoon. I'm a bit like a squirrel. I know. So it looks like a pudding almost. I usually get chocolate. And then you pour these gut health beads right on top like that. Okay. This is what Axis Trebiotic looks like. This is a pre, a pro, and a postbiotic all in one. That's what I did. That's what I did. I used this because if your gut health sucks, everything sucks. And then down the hatch. Look really good. If you eat it with the chocolate, it tastes like Nestle Crunch. Anyway, I'm digressing. That's it. And then I would take 2 of these, the Burn with the berberine, and then I was good till lunch. I do my supplements around my food intake because then I don't forget. Lunchtime, my omega-3s, my vitamin D3s. Chewable because I'm a baby and I don't like pills. Okay. Dinner time, BioCell. This is the one that Carrie loves. Liquid BioCell collagen for hair, skin, nails, and your joints.
I have skin though.
Yeah. Life, Skin, Pure, Sport, Immune. They're all amazing. Yeah. I will take this every single day until I die.
Same.
Even if I have to sell something.
Same.
Yeah. It's that helpful. But here's a little clue though. There's a full dose of this in every serving of this. So if fat loss is your main goal, I like to double dip. I take 1 in the morning, 1 at night. But if you don't want to double dip, I would go for this one until you lose the weight and then change it out if you want to. Just a little suggestion. And then at nighttime, my magnesium. That's it. That's it. My magnesium I just get from Amazon. You know, and that's my entire supplementation protocol. This is what I want you to understand. After 3 months, I stopped using these 2. So now it's like this. This is my entire supplementation protocol. I can fit it all in my hands. That's it. That's it. So it's a lot less than what I was taking before, right? A lot less.
Sorry.
He's okay. Everything's fine.
I thought my kids were loud.
He's doing stuff over there. So this one is the probiotic. The reason why I suggest something for your gut is because most people take a probiotic on its own. And that's highly problematic because those are living organisms. And if you just take a probiotic, you're feeding the bad stuff that's in your gut just as much as the good stuff. You need the prebiotic, the probiotic, and the postbiotic. It gets confusing, but the postbiotic is the one that can get down into that lower intestine and slough out all the stuff, the pathogens, the bad bacteria, the metals, impacted waste. Did you know everyone's walking around with, on average, 2 pounds of impacted waste?
Start slow because, man, it works.
Right. Yes. Start slow for sure.
It works.
But I mean, if you have autoimmune issues, gut. If you have immunity problems, you get sick a lot, gut. You have skin problems, sleep problems, mood problems, gut.
Yep.
So if your gut health sucks, everything else is not going to be good because it's systemic. It's not just about bloating and constipation. It actually affects every system in your body. How you communicate through the vagus nerve with your brain, how your gut communicates. It's like you're on one bar of Wi-Fi. You wonder why you feel like crap. Your serotonin is made in the gut. 50% of your dopamine is made in your gut. Those are your feel-good neurotransmitters. If you don't feel good.
And your immune cells.
Exactly.
I think it's 70% of your immune cells or something are in your gut, a large percentage.
Yeah.
It's your second brain, and it's important.
Exactly. So, that's exactly what I did. That's everything I did that helped me lose 44 pounds of menopause weight and keep it off. And I'm literally within a 2-pound differential. My weight is super, super stable, doing exactly what I shared with you. Do you have to do what I do? No, you don't have to do the Tracy Anderson method. You don't have to do Mediterranean diet. You don't have to do my supplements. But the point of this discussion is to get you to see that what you were doing in your 30s may not work anymore and to start thinking outside of that box. And in terms of supplementation, just make sure you're not having any deficiencies. For your gut, at the very least, start adding some fermented foods to your diet. It's so important. Your gut health is critically important. Make some good choices. If you don't want to supplement with collagen, I really recommend it. But if you don't want to, you can actually create it.
Make it.
Right. You can get a spaghetti pot and make some bone broth. And if you have that every single day, that's a great source of collagen. There are things you can do. Supplementation is designed to make your life easier. It's designed to get you better results. It's not going to, it starts in the kitchen. It absolutely has to be there. Anybody have questions about that? I hope that was helpful. Anything that I left out or that you want to know?
You are just a wealth of knowledge. And I mean, my weight was stuck for how many years? I don't even know how many years, until I started noticing how wonderful and beautiful and toned you were looking. And I decided, maybe my little sister knows best, and I'm 10 pounds down.
That's so awesome.
So I'm getting there.
I'm
getting there, and it absolutely works. You are a wealth of knowledge for sure.
Thank you. I
really appreciate you coming on and talking, because I could never have gotten all of that information out so fluently. Never.
Aw, that's sweet. Thank you. It's so nice to be able to come and hang out together and share. And it's just really about just helping people make better choices for themselves. And if I was able to do that, then that makes me happy. If I just got one person on this broadcast to stop doing HIIT cardio, I did my job today. And you can tag me in the comments if you want me to answer anything directly. I'll stick around for a little bit to make sure. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. And very, very grateful. So have a good one, guys.
Bye, ladies.